It's the Morning Pittsburgh Sports Report here on TribLive.com with Super Steeler Mike Logan and West Virginia alum Mike Logan. I'm Ken Laird.
See, I got the old
Feeling
gold
proud this morning, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm feeling a little good this morning.
Except for your former defense, which gave up 700 yards and still won a game.
And that didn't sit well with me at all. Watching the game this weekend, everyone is all excited about Geno Smith and the offense putting up those big numbers. But the defense, where are you at? I played on a defense where we had the number 1 defense in the nation when I played at West Virginia.
What year was that?
That was in we actually had the number 1 defense in 93, 92, 93, and then in 96.
Well, this is no number 1 defense. Actually, Baylor, which is an explosive offense, you got to give them credit. Even without RG3 on that Baylor team, they, if not for a couple of missed field goals, would have scored on 11 of 14 possessions. I mean, that's video game football. You've got receivers with 300 yards catching. Just a ridiculous game.
I felt like we were doing the broadcast for the Pittsburgh Power.
I know.
The way they were scoring so fast back and forth. But, you have to take a little bit of pride. I don't think any team wants to get in a shootout with Geno Smith, just how spectacular he is and efficient he is and accurate he is. But at some point, you have to play some defense.
Now, we've got quite a story developing, though, with West Virginia, Mike. And here in Western Pennsylvania, you've got, of course, a lot of Pitt fans who very much dislike this team.
Right.
You've got a lot of West Virginia alum, too, though. And now that they've made the jump to the Big 12, Pitt's not having the great start. Penn State's in the obviously 4-year hiatus. This is becoming a big deal. Do they have a chance to win a national title? And could Geno Smith win a Heisman?
I think they have an opportunity to compete for a national title. Moving to the Big 12 gives them some stiff competition. They'll play against great teams week in and week out. So they do have an opportunity. Geno Smith has shown me that he is one of the top players in the nation. I think the skills that he possesses and what he brings to the table will definitely give him an opportunity to win the Heisman. I think the offense will continue to put up big points week in and week out. And he's just so accurate that you can't overlook him for an opportunity to compete for the Heisman Trophy. So with the competition that they play, the conference move, they'll play against quality competition. If he continues to put up those numbers, they'll speak for himself, and he'll definitely win the Heisman.
The problem I see for West Virginia, and not to rip on the Big East, and which is easy to do, but they come from a conference where they've had every year a stumble or two. So a game they've lost, which they shouldn't have. South Florida would come into Morgantown and beat them. Now you're in the Big 12.
Just don't bring up the 13-9.
No,
don't bring it up.
Wasn't going to go there.
All right.
But they will play a good team every week now. It starts with Texas this weekend.
Right. And the knock on West Virginia was coming from the Big East, and like you said, they would have a law every now and then, but they also would go to a bowl game and play against, an ACC team or an SEC team in Georgia, or play Clemson, put up big numbers against those in those bowl games to show that they could compete at a high level. They just have to stay consistent to have an opportunity at the end of the year. So the record will speak for itself once they go against this competition. And I think Geno will put up the numbers. So I think they have an opportunity to compete for a national championship. And Geno Smith is definitely a top character for, candidate for the Heisman Trophy.
Well, Texas this weekend is not as explosive as Baylor offensively, but they're more well-rounded. This will be in Austin. That'll be a crazy scene, prime time. So, I don't know what you can expect. It's hard to predict this game. It's their first test at it, but it'll be something to watch.
It will be something to watch. It will be a test for them. They have to go on the road, to go down to Texas and play. They got to play their first Big 12 game in Morgantown, which is awesome. They were able to go out there and show that they can compete at a high level. So it'll be an interesting test for them. I think this will set the mark for the rest of the season, though, to see how they can finish up and have their initial season into the Big 12 and see how they finish out.
Can you imagine if they had not paid the buyout money and were still playing in the Big East? What a difference it makes.
If they were still in the Big East, and I thought about that yesterday, I mean, they would be putting up 100 points every week. I don't think anyone could, compete with them in the Big East Conference. So the move, although I didn't like it from the initially, I think it was a good move for them. But they still have something to prove, in this conference, and we'll see how it plays out.
All right, college football season in full swing into October, and that weather will start to change in Morgantown too. Could be a home field advantage for them down the road. But for now, they're going to Texas for a big game this week. West Virginia alum Mike Logan, I'm Ken Laird. It's the Morning Pittsburgh Sports Report.